Hello, everybody. Time for 6-2 assignments. So what you'll see is if you'll end up here when you log in, you go to classwork. You've got 6-2, you have the lesson instructions, so you can click on that. If you want to open it in a new window, then you can easily click back and forth between your tabs and get back to it really fast. So a quick overview, we're using proportions, and you need to watch the Math Antics video that has a really good explanation of what proportions are. Proportions are a relationship between two things, and it in this case comes down to equivalent fractions, but I also want to kind of explain the word proportions. So actually, let's just see what we get when we Google it. We get Google. Proportions. Just comes up mathematically. Find the definition. A proportion is a part, a share, or a number considered in comparative relation to a whole. So you can adjust or regulate so that it has a particular or suitable relationship to something else. So there are quite a few ways to think about proportions. Nope, don't want to snip. See if I can get a new one. Yes. Oh, sheesh. No, go away. Sorry, my computer takes a while sometimes. Yes, I said that. Okay, so when I think of proportions, I usually think of drawing, and sometimes I do portraits. And so the proportion, or like the relational size between two things in your face, is extremely important when drawing portraits. So like you could have a smiley face, and if you draw it really small, or if you draw it really big, but the proportions are the same, like the distance between the mouth and the eyes, the shapes are all the same, it's going to look like the same smiley face or like the same person. But if you draw like a tiny nose for one of them, you draw like a really big nose on another, then they're not going to end up looking the same. You have to get the proportions accurate in order to effectively copy an image or draw a picture that looks like another person, because if you just like make their nose a little too large, it doesn't look like them anymore. So that's my explanation of proportions. Let's get to solving some of the problems that we have. All right, so for 6-2 study guide, here's your list of instructions. It says a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. Remember, ratios can be written like a fraction, which is what we did in 6-1. You can use cross products to solve a proportion. So that's the cross multiplying that we have talked about before. Here's an example. Solve the proportion 14.1 divided by C equal to 3 divided by 4. So here's our proportion again. Here is where they have found the cross products. They cross multiplied 4 times 14.1 equals C times 3. Then they simplified it so that it is 3 times C like that equals 14.1 times 4 equals 56.4. Okay, so now in order to get the variable by itself, we're going to divide. We divide by what is attached to the variable. We are dividing because that is the opposite of multiplication, and the c is attached to the 3 via multiplication. So we would divide both sides by 3 because what we do to one side, we do to the other. Another explanation of how this works, when we do 3 divided by 3, anything divided by itself is 1. So if we have 1 times c, that's c. So ultimately now on this side, we have c by itself. On this side, we have to do 56.4 divided by 3. And if you do that in a calculator, you get 18.8 equals c. So your solution is c equals 18.8. All right, let's do one of the problems that are assigned to you. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to what says assignment problems. And our first one is x over 9 equals 16 over 12. So we need to figure out what x is. X over 9 equals 16 over 12. Quick reminder, you don't need smooth draw. You could just be copying this down on a piece of paper with a pencil. Okay, so we need to cross multiply. We do 12 times x. We get 12x, 12 times x, equals 9 times 16. I can chunk 16 to 10 and 6 and do 9 times 10 is 90 plus 9 times 6, which is 54, and get 144. Or if I don't want to do that, I can go to a calculator. I just Google calculator and I go 9 times 16 equals 144. Okay, so 144. Okay, so now we have 12 times x equals 144. Our goal is to get the variable by itself. It's attached by multiplication. We undo multiplication with division. I will divide both sides by 12. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay, so 12 divided by 12, that essentially cancels out. That would be 1. So we're left with x equals 144 divided by 12, which is 12, because 12 times 12 is 144, so 144 divided by 12 is 12. Or if I don't want to do that, I can use my calculator again. 144 divided by 12 equals 12. Yay. Okay, so at this point, I would go to my, I'm going to open this in another page again. Open in a new window. I'm going to go back to where you have assignment problems, Google Form. This is where you're going to have your answer sheet. I used to Google Form this time instead of having you copy it into Google Docs, and we'll see how that goes. So we got 12, so we would just click, that's my answer for that one, and then keep working through the problems, solving them, and then when we're all done, we just click submit, and then you're done with that assignment. Okay? So it's really that simple. If you want to, send me a Google Calendar invitation and we can meet face-to-face on Google Hangouts and do more problems together. Or you can wait until class for 4th period, which is Mondays and Wednesdays from 2:30 to 2:55, where we meet in Google Hangouts and we can discuss some of the problems there if you still have any questions. All right, good luck.